there, welcome. I'm Chrissy. This is my channel, Xmas In Love, where I talk about fragrance. I post here twice a week and also to my Instagram and TikTok channel. So I'll link those in the description box below if you're interested in checking those out. Please do like while you're here. Give a little like to this video. Please do comment. I really appreciate the communication and get to hear from you about my videos and what you're thinking about perfume. You know, it's all about community for me being here. And if you are subscribed already, then welcome back. I really appreciate you, and do consider subscribing if you haven't already. So today I am reviewing 21 layered perfumes. I went crazy. You can order these sample sizes and I got 21 of them. I think it was 3 packages worth of them and no regrets. This has been such a fun time trying out all these perfumes, and I definitely have opinions on all of them. So without further ado, let's jump right in. I'm gonna start off with one called Irresistible. Now, you may know that some of these are dupes and some of them are not dupes. Some of them are original creations, but Irresistible is a dupe for Creed Aventus for Her, which I have not smelled firsthand, but this one has notes of green apple, bergamot, patchouli, lemon, pink pepper, violet, musk, rose, sandalwood, styrax, black currant, peach, amber, ylang ylang, and lilac. So quite an interesting combination. But on first spray on my skin, it smells like tart apple with lemon and musk. So it feels very unisex, kind of leaning masculine, but it has just a bit of sweetness, which pulls it up to my level. But in the dry down, it really, unfortunately, is quite masculine. On my skin, it becomes like an Irish Spring soap smell. So it smells really good. It just smells like a cologne. So it's really not feminine enough for me, but gosh, it smells like a really good looking man. So, and performance-wise, it is excellent. It projects, it lasts, it's just fantastic. I'm smelling it right now. I'm like, yeah, I smell man. I smell man. It's not a bad thing. Yeah, so that is Irresistible. So definitely leaning masculine / unisex. Next I have From Russia with Love. So this is supposed to be a dupe of Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Ciel de Gum. G-U-M. It is a Moscow exclusive, supposedly. So I guess maybe it's a perfume that was only sold in Moscow or created there or something like that. But this has notes of amber, cinnamon, jasmine, vanilla, pink pepper, and rose. And this is a really intense one. So this one starts off as like a sweet rubber scent. It really does smell like rubber. But in the dry down, I get the jasmine and I get the vanilla. But the vanilla is this synthetic kind of low quality scent that still has a rubberiness to it. So it's really not a good blend. I think the issue is that it just didn't come out quite right, or maybe on my skin, it's just not bringing things out correctly, but it really smells rubbery for me. So this is definitely not a safe blind buy. Performance-wise, though, it is really excellent. It projects and it lasts really well. Unfortunately, it doesn't smell good to me. So if you like this one, let me know what you get out of it, because I'm wondering if that's kind of just my nose doing that. Next, I have Gelato. Ooh, I'm excited about this one. So Gelato is not a dupe, but it is meant to just smell like gelato. So it doesn't have any like notes given on their website anyway. So this at first spray is like a decadent creamy vanilla ice cream scent. It's more ice cream than gelato. It's not really like, well, gelato is kind of creamy too, actually. I always think of gelato as like a sorbet, but I guess it's not. It actually is pretty creamy on its own, depending on the flavor anyway. But the dry down to me smells 90% similar to Eilish by Billie Eilish, which came out, I think, at the end of 2021. I did post a review of that, so I'll link that down below if you're curious about it. It smells like vanilla ice cream, very creamy. So this is very, very close to that, and it's yummy. It's simple, but it's lovely, and it's creamy, and it's gourmand and delicious. And performance-wise, it really does last most of the day, not the whole day. It takes a little bit overspraying to really project, but it really does last. And I would definitely keep this one if I didn't have Eilish already, but I do, so I don't really think I need this one. But it is really great. Gelato is delicious. It smells more like a vanilla bean gelato, you know, when it comes down to it. But I really like it. Next I have here Xmas In Love. So this is an original creation of theirs, not a dupe. It has notes of cherry, chocolate absolute, rum, and spices. And I like this one a lot. So at first it comes off as like a cherry cordial with a boozy filling in it. And then in the dry down, it definitely still smells like cherry cordials. That chocolate is just so realistic and delicious. It is such a great chocolate scent. Sorry, I think I have something on my nose. I keep like a little fuzzy or something. And I just keep feeling it. Did that happen to you? You're like, ah. Anyway, Performance-wise, it's really good though. It lasts and projects throughout the day, and it is a gorgeous, yummy, kind of cherry-ish milk chocolate scent, and I love it. Definitely keeping this one and potentially buying a full-size bottle as well. Yeah, so that is Xmas In Love. Very good showing. Next I have here Caramel Overdose Prive, which is not a dupe. What interestingly, there is an original Caramel Overdose not Prive version, which has more simplistic notes than this. So it seems like they were taking that scent, which was really just like a single note caramel scent, and added a few other notes to it. And I don't know if it actually worked out that well for them. But this has notes of caramel, vanilla, pear, rose, citrus notes, orange, and orange blossom. And so this comes off at first as like a very creamy, sweet pear. So it's kind of synthetic smelling and not very realistic, but it is sweet and kind of a yummy, like fake-ish pear. Kind of like a candied pear, I guess. And the dry down, I do get the caramel and I get the pear, but they somehow don't really blend well together, which is a letdown. Like the caramel kind of falls flat. It's not really like syrupy or indulgent or like really like decadent and yummy. It kind of falls flat. So unfortunately, since the caramel doesn't hold up, the rest of the perfume kind of falls apart. It doesn't really smell like a good blend to me, unfortunately. And performance-wise, it is really just a skin scent. So yeah, I haven't tried the original. Well, I don't know. I posted a layered video, I think, a while ago. I forget if I had Caramel Overdose non-Prive in there or not. But if you've tried either of them, let me know what your thoughts are on that. I would love to know. Next, I have here Devilish. And this is, again, an original creation. And this has notes of bergamot, amyris, mandarin orange, tonka bean, patchouli, pink pepper, and vetiver. And this is another one that leans kind of unisex. So it's really a fresh bergamot and vetiver right from the start. It leans very masculine. And then, you know, in the dry down, it gives you more of like an aftershave vibe. So it does, again, smell like a very attractive man. That's very nice. But it's definitely not something I would wear because I really don't like to wear unisex scents. But for a man, this would be so good. So good. I should probably just keep it around just so I can like spray it on somebody. Give it to a male friend or something and be like, trust me, wear this. Because it does smell so good. Unfortunately, it is kind of a skin scent at the end of the day. But I like the scent. But again, I'm not going to be wearing it. So yeah, that is Devilish. Then I have Bella the Irresistible, which is a dupe of Parfums de Marly Cassili, which I have not actually smelled yet. But this one has notes of red currant, Bulgarian rose, floral notes, plum, mimosa, sandalwood, vanilla, and tonka bean. And this is a rose forward scent. So it starts off like very forward on the rose, but also sweetened with the tonka and vanilla, which is really elegant and pretty. I actually really like that. And the dry down, the rose and the mimosa, which is a flower, blend really nicely together. It's just a pretty floral scent. And that red currant adds a bit of zestiness and fruitiness too. But it doesn't really wow me because I'm not really a floral lover, especially when it's like mixed with fruits. It just doesn't really do it for me. So is it a good dupe? Let me know. I don't actually know. I haven't tried it. But I do think it's a really pretty floral scent with like that rose and a zestiness. So great scent, not my taste, but a really great scent. Performance-wise, it does last and project most of the day. Toward the end of the day, it kind of was fading a little bit, but that's kind of to be expected, you know, it's really okay. But yeah, so that is Bella the Irresistible. Next, I have Goddess Shower, which is a dupe of Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Petit Matin. And that has notes of, it's in smaller writing on the page, sorry, Italian lemon, orange blossom, musk, lavender, ambrosian, and hawthorn. Hawthorn, okay. So anyway, on my skin on first spray, this has a real limoncello scent to it, which is a fresh lemon with this slight bitterness to it. It's like a, you know, an aperitif. In the dry down, it's a lovely but really subtle scent. You know, the lavender and the musk come out more in the dry down. And that citrus zestiness sits more in the background. So I think it's a lovely scent. I haven't smelled what it's supposed to be duping, but this is gonna be so fresh for spring and summer and just really classy and well blended, high quality. I like the layered quality overall. Performance-wise though, it's pretty much gone by midday. It's largely a skin scent, so I did have to respray it, but that's okay. But this is one I actually am definitely keeping and potentially getting a full-size bottle of. So that is Goddess Shower. Next, I have Close Encounter, which is not a dupe. It is an original creation. This has notes of exotic flowers, sugar, pink pepper, marshmallow, cotton candy, and other mysterious notes in this secret recipe. So we're leaning gourmand here. And at first, it smells like doll's head and cotton candy. So not a bad thing. But in the dry down, what's interesting is it smells like black licorice. And I don't know what it is in it that makes it lean that way, but on my skin, it really pulls black licorice, which I do not like. But in the deep dry down, it comes off as kind of like a mellow, sweet, ambery scent. So after about 4 or 5 hours of wear, it fades from the licorice more into like a sweet amber scent. But again, none of this is really that pleasing to me. Performance-wise, it has pretty good lasting power. It does project while it's on you, but again, it fades into kind of a different scent in the deep dry down. Probably about 6 hours, I'd say, actually, is when it really starts to drop off. So yeah, this is one that I thought would be really fun because I love cotton candy scents and just gourmands in general, but it really didn't really please me in the end. So that is Close Encounter. So that one's definitely going to go on the chopping block. So next I have here Danielle's Milk Bath, which is one that I hear a lot about, and it is an original creation. And this has notes of jasmine, lilac, and iris. So of course it's a very floral forward scent, and it comes off that way. So at first spray, it's very powdery florals. It's ethereal, it's beautiful. It's like a scented powder that I imagine ladies wearing in the Victorian era, where, it was scented with real flower petals just ground up into the powder or something. It smells really pretty. In the dry down though, it turns a little bit more soapy on me. So it's kind of like a soapy floral. It's kind of soft and elegant. It is quite lovely, but performance-wise, it is very low projection. So it has good lasting power, but you could stand to overspray it and be pretty happy with the performance, I think. So this is what I'm not going to keep. And I say keep or sell because, with everything I test, even if it's samples, if I don't like it, I just get rid of it. I really don't keep it around, for funsies. It takes up too much space. So this is one that I'm going to be getting rid of. But, if you like floral, soapy, powdery, kind of ethereal, I think this is a really beautiful perfume, but it's just not really my style. So yeah, that is Danielle's Milk Bath. Next, I have here Enchanted Garden, which is, again, an original creation. And this has notes of bouquets of jasmine, rose, gardenia, sweet fruit pulp, and bright orange and bergamot. And this comes off at first as a fresh bergamot and orange scent on me. Those really stand out the most. And I get kind of a honeysuckle type floral sweetness behind them, even though that's not really the note. And the dry down, that bergamot luckily really sticks around, and the florals play more of a supporting role. So it's pretty, but it's not particularly exciting. I don't think it's really that unique, but it's a nice spring scent. It's really fresh, and it's a floral type freshness. So if you like that, it really is great. And it is pretty good performance. It has good projection, kind of like a closer bubble, but it still does project. And it lasted half the day on me before it kind of faded into a shadow of its former self. So I did have to respray it about halfway through the day. So this is one, again, not really to my taste. I don't really love it. But if you like a bergamot and floral, or the idea of that, it is done well for what it is. So that is Enchanted Garden. Next, I have French Kiss, which is another original creation. And this has notes of Brazilian love rose, amber, citrus notes, woody notes, and pink pepper. And this smells at first like a sweet incense and rose with a slight citrus kick to it. And in the dry down, it turns more into a fresh pink rose, I'd say. It has some amberiness in there. It's a really pretty blend. It is well done. And the woods come off as kind of sweet and alluring in there. Performance-wise, it is really just a skin scent, though. It loses its charm after about an hour. And after a few hours, it was completely gone on my skin. But yeah, I wish it kind of stuck with the opening of that sweet incensey rose. But, it's a pretty rose. If you like rose, it's definitely worth trying. So that is French Kiss. Now I have here Serendipity, which is an original blend. And Serendipity has notes of raspberry, milk accord, orange blossom, and tuberose. And on first spray, it's a chalky, sweet orange blossom. Not a bad thing. It's kind of pretty and ladylike. And then in the dry down, it's very orange blossom forward. I get this kind of milky creaminess. I don't get any raspberry, but I do get kind of a doll's head vibe that I don't really love. And that's really more in the dry down than the opening. I get that. But this is a really pretty orange blossom scent, actually. Performance-wise, it has reasonable projection and lasting power. It probably stops projecting about midday, so it could use a re-up at that point. But this could be really good for layering if you want to add that orange blossom to it. So yeah, it's a very pretty orange blossom scent, and that is Serendipity. Now I have here one I'm really excited about because it is supposed to be a dupe of Lancome's Oud Bouquet, and it's called Dark Temptation. And I'll tell you what the notes are, but if you smell Oud Bouquet, you know what it's going for. It's rose, oud, saffron, vanilla, and some woodsy notes. And this is actually a really great dupe of Oud Bouquet. It's beautiful, sweet oud. It's soft. It's timeless. It has this woody vanillic sense to it with a praline sponge cake quality, which is how I interpret Oud Bouquet anyway. And it's really ambery. Now, it doesn't really have the alluring staying power of the original. You know, it kind of becomes a bit of a shadow of its former self after a couple of hours. So I'd say Oud Bouquet definitely outperforms this in terms of quality. But it is a really good dupe of it for sure. And you can just respray it throughout the day and not even think about it because it's so much cheaper. And I really love it. It's not better than Oud Bouquet, but it's a really good stand-in for it. So yeah, that is Dark Temptation. Next we have Runaway Love, and this is a really unique one I actually like a lot. It's an original blend. It has notes of sandalwood, rose, lychee, apple, and Egyptian aquatic notes. And it's basically equal parts sandalwood, rose, and lychee. If you can imagine what that is, it's a little bit woody, a little bit dense. It has like that vivacious rose, so it has plenty of floral representation, and the lychee adds some sweetness and some bite. It's just a really unique, sophisticated blend that I haven't really smelled anything like it before. It has kind of like a potpourri-ish feeling to it, so kind of a timelessness to it. Yeah, but it's really just a skin scent, so it doesn't really project. You have to overspray it to get a lot of performance out of it, but it is really unique. I definitely think you should try a little tester size before buying a full bottle because it is really heavy on the floral, and for me, that's not something I really love. But yeah, it's interesting showing, and it's pretty unique. So that is Runaway Love. Now I have here Fatal Attraction, which is another original creation. And this has notes of Cambodian jasmine, amber, and cashmere wood. And on first spray, this is a very strong jasmine with kind of a rubberiness. That plastic note came back around again. It's in a lot of their perfumes, I get kind of a plastic note. And this may be the cashmere wood coming out. I'm not sure, but it just kind of has this weird plasticness to it. And in the dry down, unfortunately, it's the same. It still has this kind of rubberiness, but it is jasmine. It's very jasmine forward. So, you know, I really don't like it. It's like not the best representation of jasmine nor of florals in general. So I don't know. It doesn't really do it for me. I would say, even if you like jasmine, I wouldn't really waste the money on this one. I don't think it's a really great showing. But it has amazing performance, of course. It lasts forever and it projects. But yeah, I would say Fatal Attraction is not really that great. Finally here, all right, we are down to the final five. So here is Sandalicious, and this is another original creation. It has notes of vanilla absolute, Calabrian bergamot, lemon, and sandalwood. And this, at first spray, was a soft, sweet, ambery sandalwood. It is definitely a sandalwood forward scent in the best way. It's gorgeous. And the dry down, it's just a sweet, satisfying sandalwood. Like at first I thought it was a single note creation because it just Sandalicious sounded like it was just a sandalwood note. And I don't really get the other notes listed too strong, except that there is a sweetness that is probably not in a natural sandalwood scent. So I think that's where they come in. Unfortunately, performance-wise, it does require overspraying to really project. And it does last on my skin all day, but you have to kind of amp it up throughout the day. But as far as sandalwood goes, it's a very appealing, sweet, ambery sandalwood, really pleasing, and probably also really good for layering. So I really do like this one. And that is, again, Sandalicious. All right, fourth in line to the end, we have the single note creations. And some were great, some were not. So first here I have Insane Pineapple, which of course is a pineapple scent. And it's this really bright, slightly acidic pineapple, so very realistic in that way. It's juicy. It performs really well, but it doesn't like change over time. But it does project and it does last really well. So this is just like a banger pineapple. I think it's super fun to turn something into more of like a tropical scent if you want, add some sweetness, add some like acidity to a scent. I really love this one. I think it's a great pineapple scent considering it's just a single note. It really does give the whole experience of a fresh pineapple. So really like that one. Then I have Raspberry Fizz, which is of course a raspberry scent. And this is basically a very sweet candy-like raspberry. It comes off really syrupy, especially at first, very syrupy, kind of decadent. The problem is in the dry down, it's really not good. It turns into this artificial raspberry mess, but it's kind of like plasticky, as is an issue with a lot of their scents. And I just don't think it's a really great raspberry scent, unfortunately. I wish that it was either more realistic or, you know, maybe less candy-like. I don't know exactly what it is, but it just smells like a really artificial raspberry and not in like a decadent, gourmand, yummy way, in just a weird, bad way. And that's on my skin, by the way. On paper, it performs differently. It definitely smells more appealing, but my skin did not like this one. So yeah, and performance also is pretty poor on this. It didn't last very long either. So that's Raspberry Fizz. That one's gotta go. Second to last here is Arabica Roast, which starts off as a sweet, creamy coffee. It really kind of is more like a latte because of how creamy it is. But in the dry down, that kind of gets less creamy and it starts to smell just like a cup of coffee. I mean, it gets a little more watery, which also is kind of like more like a coffee than a latte is to have like, you know, the water in it. It actually smells a lot like Dunkin' Donuts coffee to me, if you want a point of reference, like a good old average cup of joe. And it's great. It's very layerable. It does smell good. You know, it has like a little bit of like, kind of like a teeny bit of sweetness, but it's really not like a sugary coffee. It's a great layerable coffee. And also performance-wise, it lasts all day, which is great. It doesn't project too well after the first couple of hours, so I had to respray to get that bubble back again. But again, probably really great for layering for that reason. So I really like this one, and that is Arabica Roast. And then finally, I have here Luscious Strawberry. Unfortunately, ending kind of on a low note. This starts off smelling like strawberry Twizzlers, like very candy-like, sweet and yummy. But then the dry down, unfortunately, it becomes kind of like a doll's head artificial strawberry scent. It kind of loses that initial charm of like, oh, it's sweet candy strawberry, great. And then it kind of like dies down and it's like, oh, it's kind of artificial. It's kind of like weird smelling, kind of doll's head smelling. It doesn't smell very mature at all. It smells like a kid's perfume or something. And it has kind of like a waxiness to it too. So again, I wish it was kind of like a more banging strawberry, but unfortunately, I don't think it's one that I would really want to smell like. It smells really immature and really flat. Performance-wise, it's reasonable though. It lasts and projects pretty well throughout the day. But yeah, definitely don't recommend Luscious Strawberry. So those are my layered perfumes. I hope that was enough for you. That was 21 of them. So thanks for hanging in there with me. Thanks so much for being here. Let me know your thoughts, of course, if you try any of these or tell me what your favorite layered perfume is. That'd be super fun for me to know. So again, thanks so much for being here. Hope you have a very beautiful day.